Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Miel Abraik. I'm looking at Psalm 37, verses 21 and 22. This section begins with Lamed in the acrostic structure of our psalm. Lamed starts this portion here. And Lamed originally, in its original ancient form, was the cattle prod, moves things along. And so, in a sense, yeah, our psalm is moving along with reference to how the Lamed is used. We'll get into how it's used in our scripture. So, lo rasha velo yitzalem. And so that's the first section here. The previous verse ended here with Suluk Sof Pasuk, and then we start a new one here with Love, Holam, and Segol, Love. This is now, first of all, a little bit of structural things. We see the work of at least three individuals here. First was the first person who copied the text. In other words, we see some of the original writing as yet here. Then there was the person who corrected it, and interesting corrector happening right here. If you look very closely at the material, you'll find just a shadow of the yod mem, yod and final mem right here. And when the person who was correcting the text, in other words, the text was copied, then somebody else checked it over very closely and said, no, it shouldn't have been. This incidentally was rasha, and it makes it a plural, but or no, this is a singular actually, rasha, but the person who copied it made it into a plural. Okay, rashaim. Okay, rashaim. So the corrector then caught it and got out his little brush to wipe off the extra yod mem here. Missed the hirik. In other words, hirik should have also been erased, but and in modern text you can check it out. It's resh comments, shin comments, and then the ayin, and the hirik does get itself erased in modern text. This isn't really supposed to be there, so it's here, but it was here because it happened to be the hirik yod of hirik yod mem here, but that got erased. And then there's also the work of the highlighter. In other words, a few more centuries later, somebody else went through the whole thing. And I see it here. This is Reviu Mugrash, and Reviu Mugrash right here. This Mugrash was not fixed, and this one was. In other words, there's quite a contrast here between something that was original and something that was repaired. So, and our highlighter missed the Shavah that's supposed to be here. It is here, but there should have been a Shavah right here. He didn't really insert it. And actually, you can look very closely, and really doesn't seem to be any remaining evidence of a Shavah, but there should be a Shavah underneath this Vav right here. So, Love Rasha Velo Yeshalem. Now, I've seen in translators the whole matter of taking the most direct and most simple translation of a certain phrase and using it when really the phrase did have a little larger, a little more open meaning to it, but it does have a very specific meaning to it as well. And so translators tend to go the quick and easy and direct route in translating. So the quick, easy, direct route of translating this little phrase right here is the evil one borrows and doesn't pay back. Boom, done. But the passage does cover a little more territory than that, actually. So it makes it a little harder to cover that, to expand out what is actually happening here. We find it in, well, let's start with Yeshalom. Yeshalom is seeking peace, bringing to good order, making it healthy, making it strong, making it work. Okay, Yeshalom. It's the verbal form of shalom. Okay, shalom, everything's in order. So making things in order, fulfilling out what your promises are. Okay, that's shalom. And Laveh, when we look to Genesis and we find Leah giving names to her sons and explaining what those names mean, she says it's her third son, and she gives the name Levi. Okay, Levi. So Lamed Vav to that child, because she says, I would like my husband to join me. Okay, and so this is the word to join up, to connect with, to be involved. And so actually the very first time we see the use of this particular verb, it means joining in and agreeing to be involved in a family. So in other words, the wicked one doesn't work closely within his family. And Leah most certainly felt that, because Jacob loved Rachel much more. So apparently spent more time on that side, and she felt the abandonment of all this. So third son is born, call him Levi. Why? I'd like my husband to join up here a little more closely with the family. So the agreement here wasn't just so much money, but being involved more closely with the family. And so we can see here, it's just a little bit more than simply borrowing or lending money. In fact, when you go through the use of the lobe here, Lud, Lamed, Vav, Hey, it's half the time it's borrowing, half the time it's lending. So which one is it? It's simply coming to an agreement and then sticking with it. Okay, joining in and staying committed is what this particular phrase is supposed to be. And that's the problem with the Rasha. He joins in, makes an agreement, borrows money, or marries a woman, but doesn't really take care of her, doesn't take care of the family, and so forth. So it's a person who makes commitments, makes agreements, but then doesn't keep them. And he doesn't, lo yeshalom, doesn't see them through to peace. Okay, doesn't see them through to peace. Yeshalom. Ve Sadiq, but the righteous one. Okay, tremendous. This is very much structure of our psalm here. Contrast between evil, Rasha, and Sadiq. But the righteous one, Honen, he's gracious. He has, and think of Hannah, the mother of Samuel here. She's compassionate. She's gracious. She's concerned. She's connected. Okay, so Honen. And so we're seeing a whole bunch of participles working here. Lobe, and Honen, and Noten. Okay, these are all participles. In other words, these are constant activities. These are things that take place over time and are part of the constant life of whoever is doing them. So this is what the Rasha does all the time. This is what the Sadiq. He's gracious, he's caring, he's concerned for people, and he gives. In other words, he's giving. And if we take what we see here, if we're just talking about borrowing and not paying, the tendency at this point would be, oh, then he just simply is willing to give money. But if we understand that this is a little bit larger picture here, he's giving of his time, giving of his commitment to the family, he's giving of being involved, and so forth. So it also broadens out this particular meaning of notan, to give. What are you giving? Not just money, but it's also time, it's commitment, it's involvement, and so forth. So it does make this passage just a little bit more comprehensive, a little bit stronger than just simply the whole matter of settling it all down on what you would do or not do with money. So Sadiq Honen Beit Natan, and he gives. Ki Mebarachav, so this is blessed of him. And here it's something you have to. This is a suffix pronoun on the end here, of him, belonging to him. Who's the antecedent of this one? And when you kind of have a when you have a kind of a problem of connecting it, does it belong to this Sadiq, or who's the antecedent of this particular vow? And we have to get back to Genesis 12, the first 2 or 3 verses of Genesis 12, and we see there the whole sequence of The barach, that is those who bless you, beracha, Ibarach, I will bless. And so the entire world, and Jehovah divides everybody into one of two categories: those who bless you and those who curse you, those who are taking you lightly. Okay, this is kal here. So this is the blessing, first of all. Ki me baracha, because those who are blessed by him, in other words, going back now to Jehovah, those who are blessed of Jehovah, Yerashu Aretz, in other words, those who are blessed of Jehovah, are inheriting the earth. And this is the third or fourth time out, we'll see the word Yerashu. So it's a third person plural here, surik on the end for the plural, Yerash for the prefix on, and the root here is Yod Resh Shin, to inherit. They inherit Aretz. Okay, now Aretz normally is a double segulate, but here the Atna pushes it up to a kametz. So you have a pausal form of Aretz here. Okay, nice pausal form. They inherit the earth. But mekulatav, those who are held in light regard. Now, the easy translation would be cursed. Okay, but let's get into a little bit more of what that means. If you're thinking about the grammar structures and you're looking in your app and so forth, and you're always going to see the word kal. What is kal? It's the light verb. Okay, when you're talking about the grammar structure of Hebrew verbs, it's the light verb. And 70% of your this is just estimation, most of your Hebrew verbs are kal. Some of them are hifel and hitpael and so forth, but most of the normal verbs that we deal with are kal. They're light, they're fast. Okay, so that's why they're called kal. Now, this is what this kof lamed is what goes into the middle of this particular pual. It's a pual participle. That's what goes into the middle of this thing. And those who are held lightly by him. Okay, this is and again, same antecedents we have here. Mebarachav, and here you have me hal. This is a hey here. Mehala. No, this is a kof here. Oops, I missed the long string of the kof here. Me kula lav. Those who are held lightly. Kol. Those who kal. Those who are kal. Those who are light verbs. Those who are light people. Those who are held lightly by him. Yekaratu. They are cut off. We see an interesting Revia Mugrash right here. This is a Revia Mugrash. And we also have a Revia Mugrash over here. This one wasn't highlighted by a highlighter. The person who was fixing our passage. This one was. Okay, so there it is. What we see, and then here, in both cases, we have a lovely Siluk Sof Pasuk closing off this verse and have a nice Siluk Sof Pasuk. Here the Sof Pasuk got fixed, and this one's still a little bit light. Anyway, what happens in this world? Those who connect, those who are faithful, those who are obedient, those who care for each other, and first time through, yes, you can say those who borrow don't repay, those are evil, and those who do repay, those who look for shalom, yeah, they're good, and those who are willing to give, and those who are generous, that's also a good thing. But the larger picture is when you luav, when you agree to something, when you get into something, stick with it. That's what's central to this particular passage. Making a commitment and sticking with it. And if you look back to the way Leah uses it, sticking with a family is first and foremost. And that's probably even more important than what you would do with the financial side of your life. Sticking with your family actually becomes more important when we look at the way this particular verb is used in this particular passage. So stick with your family, be with them, care for them, give testimony to them, and live your life in obedience to God and to Jesus all the time. May God bless and may God strengthen you in this day.